This is WCM's Park Update, a weekly show covering the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. During each episode, you'll hear from special guests and campground experts on topics that will help your park flourish. WCM's Park Update is a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine.
Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground Magazine, and this is another edition of WCM's Park Update, sponsored by Book Outdoors, and my esteemed colleague Mike Gast, former Vice President of Communications at Campgrounds of America, is here. And our guests today are from Sunland RV Resorts, and we have Olivia Devlin, and she's the corporate marketing director for Sunland RV Resorts, and then James Lim, who is the senior vice president of Sunland RV Resorts. And James and Olivia, did you guys both go to the Ojai conference this year?
Yes, we did.
We did.
You did? Okay. Yep. Okay.
It was our first time attending, actually.
All right. Okay. Yeah. We've done a little bit on the WCM side on Sunland RV Resorts. I know you guys are really big into pickleball. I think we've done some stuff on the pickleball front for you guys. I guess, can you guys just give us a little bit about, kind of the history of Sunland? I guess, how many resorts you guys have and what kind of locations you guys are in, I guess.
Around for almost 40 years. It is a family owned company. We have primarily, our portfolio is in Southern California. We have 7 resorts in Southern California and 2 in Florida. And it is a variation of RV sites. We also have park models, tiny homes, cottages. We also have brick and mortar villas at one of our resorts. Our properties in Florida tend to be more for lot ownership, as well as RV site rentals. So we have a plethora of options for our guests to enjoy all our assets that we have for Sunland RV Resorts.
Olivia, maybe you could explain a little bit about what ownership means. Is it a timeshare type feel, or do they actually own the ground?
They actually own the ground. We have our property in Naples, Motor Coach RV Resort. We have been very, very blessed and having it been ranked in the top 10 best resorts in the country. It is a very elite, high-end luxury resort, motor coach only. So yes, you own the land, and it is a beautiful community of elevated experiences within the Naples environment. And then we have another property in Okeechobee, probably a less similar or unknown area, but is so simply beautiful. It is surrounded by a nature preserve, and that also has cottages, tiny homes, kind of park models, as well as lot ownership. So that tends to be more of the Florida-based business model compared to the differentiation of the RV sites and RV stays and park models in our Southern California properties.
Yeah, so let me try sharing my screen here, and we can actually show you guys' website here, and you have some pictures. I think this is the Silver Palms RV Resort in Lake Oak. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Okeechobee. It took me a while as well to put
Okeechobee.
that one.
I worked with we had Campgrounds America had a campground down there for several years. It's still a franchise, I believe, but it's a beautiful area.
True.
Very, very nice fishing lake.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. It is a mecca for outdoor activities, and fishing being the priority number one.
Yeah, and you got a ton of pickleball courts here, it looks like.
Oh,
so it really is a highly sought after resort for its amenities and activities. It is, as you can see, its location. There's not really that much around it, but from an attraction perspective, and that's why it tends to be a very, very tight knit community that has a lot of resources and amenities to support living in that area.
Yeah.
You might as well get a racket now, Ben, because it's a requirement after you hit 60. You got to be a pickleball player.
Ben, are you telling me that you have never played pickleball before?
I want to play pickleball, but they just don't have anything.
Oh, you have to.
Around where I live. So
pretty soon they're not going to let you go to RV shows if you don't play pickleball.
Yeah. And then this is the Naples this is the Naples Motor Coach Resort, which you mentioned, and I mean, it just looks beautiful. You can see the high end coaches there, and you're right along a canal. It looks like.
Yes, we actually are the only RV resort that has canal access to the Gulf, basically.
Okay.
We have a boat launch there, and we can take our guests to dining, activities, anything that they wish to is accessible by the canal or the waters.
And then I think the one that I've heard the most about, or the one I read the most about, is the one in California, the Golden Village. Here, we'll go over there. How long have you guys had the Golden Village, I guess, in your portfolio? Do you know that?
I think we've had it for over 10 years. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. I think we've had it over 15 years.
Okay.
It's the largest RV resort in California with over 1,000 sites.
Wow. James, walk us through a little bit of what the development of a new Sunland looks like. Do you usually go in and buy an existing park and make the upgrades? Do you start from scratch? Do you are you always on the lookout for smaller campgrounds that you can expand into?
Yes, we're always on the lookout for opportunities, right? And a couple of our properties, we started off. My owner purchased the properties, and renovated it, and we basically evolved the property from a trailer park into an RV resort. Now, Golden Village Palms has always been a resort, and we just basically enhanced the experience at that particular property.
What's your most recent acquisition?
My owner acquired a property in Texas, but we have not had the opportunity to flag that property yet. We're still under development, and currently we're renovating the property.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I guess, what are you finding trend-wise on your resorts? What are the things that campers are looking for when they come to a Sunland? What are some things that you guys provide that makes you a little bit different, I guess, or that your campers demand?
Well, I love the way you've phrased that question of what they want and what they demand, because there's definitely they're very discerning travelers. They know exactly what they want, and they're wanting to have an elevated experience and something new every year. Mm-hmm. We do have and are very fortunate to have a lot of repeat guests who know who Sunland brand is, and they know their expectations of their experience. What we have done, and you mentioned at the top of the podcast, Ben, is our pickleball. We hire pickleball pros. We have offered complimentary clinics and classes to our guests who are curious about the sport, and also those who play the sport, who would be very welcoming to have a little tip or trick from a professional to do a little bit different in their game. We actually host professional pickleball tournaments at Golden Village Palms. We have a few coming up in the first quarter of next year. Mm-hmm. And that has been something that we pride ourselves in, and having the facilities to give that to our guests. We also, again, being located quite closely to the Southern California winery area, Temecula. Mm-hmm. Temecula Valley has been a very, very, it really is, it's the Napa Valley of Southern California. So partnering with wineries and partnering with local businesses in the area, we're looking at winery tours. Our guests certainly do enjoy the good life, and having the wineries in our backyard is something that we are very fortunate to have, and our guests thoroughly enjoy. So it's supporting the local areas with restaurants and food and beverage events. We also actually have a great robust activities event calendars at our higher end properties. We have highly attended concert and comedy nights and tribute bands and magic shows. We truly pride ourselves in giving our guests a very fully immersed experience while they're staying with us, whether it be snowbirds, a weekend warrior, or someone that is there for an extended stay, an extended period of time.
So what's the occupancy be like in all the parks? Is it something you better sign up for a year in advance? Is it something that that you do see at least a modicum of folks with short-term rentals coming in?
Two,
Is
two
it
of
something
our
you used to?
Yeah, two of our well, I would say four of our resorts in our portfolios probably need to sign up 6 months in advance because it does get really, really busy. I mean, we're hitting sold out nights and weeks and months. For example, in our Palm Desert property, Emerald Desert RV Resort, because it's just a popular destination, right, for snowbirds. Golden Village Palms, even though we have 1,000 sites there, but if you really want the premium sites, you have to book it in advance, right? The premium sites being closer to the amenities, the swimming pools, the pickleball courts, the volleyball courts. So I highly recommend booking it 3 to 6 months in advance.
So does Sunland also re-rent for the owners of these lots when they're not around?
Yes, we do. We have particularly in Naples RV Resort, we do have that rental program. So if you own an RV lot, you can have that rented out during the high season. But
Yeah.
going back to Ben's question regarding the trends in terms of the RV resorts, right? I think really, I read somewhere an article that said that RVs have become the ultimate symbol of the new American mobility, right? And it's really a lot of people, especially the millennials, have started
Mhm.
purchasing a lot of RVs or even renting RVs to get that wonderful experience, right? And we're seeing that in our properties. We're seeing a lot of millennials, and it's very different from Gen X or the different generations that we've had in our outdoor hospitality. With the millennials, they're looking more for transformative experiences, right? Olivia and I were discussing this yesterday, that our guests are not necessarily just looking for a function room or a club room. They're looking for a concert. They're looking for really a wonderful experience that's memorable. And it's that's the new trend, and they're very the expectation is higher than before, right? And which is why what we did in our company, we actually are making sure that we're measuring the guest sentiments in our properties. We brought in a company called Medallia that's widely used in the indoor hospitality, that basically looks at the net promoter scores, how they experience the property, and really making sure that we tweak all the amenities and services that we provide so that we meet and exceed the expectations from these new guests that are coming in.
So does that also put pressure on the resorts to provide more programming for families and with children?
I don't know if putting pressure. I think it's an amenity and service that we should have had before, but I think it's kind of making sure that we always enhance that. Right? It's no longer bingos or card games in our resorts. I mean, we're talking about wine tasting, beer tasting, right? All those things that you find in some hotels or resorts in indoor hospitality, that now it's expected in the outdoor hospitality. Olivia, you know this.
A good example of that is at Golden Village Palms. We have an executive chef. We have a chef's garden. We have farm-to-table dinners. We have wine pairing dinners. And it's just truly a very elevated experience that sets that experience apart from really any other, I would say, RV resort that I'm certainly familiar with, that they offer such high elevated culinary experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've published some of those stories on WCM about some of the chefs you guys have hired, and I mean that's pretty amazing that you guys are able to bring those types of programs in, and the response is pretty positive for those programs. People love the food and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I think if you were to put yourselves in the shoes of an RVer in that experience, I would absolutely be very receptive to being presented with a very high-end culinary experience of And we have we even have guest demos. We can show them how to cook meals in their RVs. We have guest-led activities for food and beverage. It's a very interactive. It's no surprise, but it's a really great community of people that are at some of our more long-term extended stay resorts.
And Olivia used the word community. We are definitely in all our resorts. We focus on our local community, right? We partner with restaurants, with small businesses, with wineries and breweries, right? And bring them into the properties to get our guests experience those local flavors and local culinary experiences.
Yeah, and you also, I think on your websites, you also highlight some of the things that they can do out of the resort too as well, I guess, which is also kind of important because I know, especially like in the San Diego area, some of those areas, people want to kind of be able to go out and explore, and helping them do that is positive too, I guess.
Yeah,
so
you bring up a good point. You actually just bring up a good point, Ben, because our San Diego RV resort property in La Mesa in San Diego has a direct trolley access. You literally walk out of our security gated area onto a trolley stop, and that is your backyard of America's finest city. You get to explore all the stops, and we basically, when the check-in process, the guest comes in, and you're told that you can literally stay at San Diego RV Resort and experience everything that San Diego has to offer without leaving the park.
So what was the experience at your parks like during the pandemic, and what's it been since? Was it hard to just get through the pandemic years?
It was very tough, but at the same time, we kept operating the parks and the resorts with obviously making sure everybody was safe. That was our number one priority. But we kept it open. We obviously relied on the cities and the state's ordinances. When they asked us to close the common areas, we did so. But yeah, it was tough. But I think we delivered a really great experience, even though we were in that pandemic phase.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a break for a minute to recognize our sponsor, Book Outdoors, and then we will be right back with James and Olivia.
Today's show is sponsored by Book Outdoors. If you want increased visibility and higher occupancy, your campground needs to be listed where today's guests are searching and booking. Book Outdoors is the most sought-after destination for booking outdoor accommodations. Listing your property on Book Outdoors is free and easy, and Book Outdoors seamlessly integrates with several popular reservation systems. Register now and get a $25 gift card when your listing is published, plus another $100 to celebrate your first booking. Visit partners.bookoutdoors.com for more information and to get started.
Hi, welcome back to WCM's Park Update, sponsored by Book Outdoors, and we are talking with Olivia Devlin and James Lim from Sunland RV Resorts. And I mean, it's amazing, all of the new RVers that have hit the road. I guess do you guys see a lot of those first timers at your resorts? And what do you guys do to kind of make those first timers kind of feel welcome? Maybe if they're new to RVing, I guess.
We do see a lot of first timers, and we have what you call the Sunland Heart program in Sunland RV Resorts. And what that is, Ben and Mike, is basically we want to make sure that we go deeper in understanding who the individuals are staying at our property, right? Mm-hmm. What's the purpose and what's the main reason, right? When we find out that you're celebrating your anniversary, we're not just going to send you a bottle of champagne or a little gift from us. We actually take the time to figure out who are the guests, right, that are staying with us. For example, if we find out that you're celebrating your anniversary and you met in San Diego, maybe we'll buy you a couple of gifts from San Diego that will remember you, like even a frame with your photo in it. So what we call the Sunland Heart is really more like a surprise and delight for our guests. And we try to hit most of our guests that check in.
Yeah.
So Olivia, what does marketing look like when you got a waiting list for people that want to get in?
It's a marketing delight. It really is.
That's
But
problem.
the beautiful thing is our resorts are very highly sought after for whether it be the demographics of military. San Diego is a huge military destination. We have a lot of military guests. Traveling nurses, we are located quite conveniently to a lot of the top hospitals and medical facilities in San Diego. And even just linemen. We have again, the area has the demand factors that benefit us in our industry. A lot of those people are RVers. And to Ben's point of the first-time guests, I will literally pull a report of first-time visitors to understand where they find us, where are they from. Again, to James's point, truly kind of diving down a wee bit deeper into finding out why they're here. And we do have a central reservations office here in the home office. And I hear the conversations every single day of getting to know our guests, getting to know our guests' dog's name. So that's on the reservation. As soon as they check in, they know that Max and, the parents we'll call them by the dog's names. They get dog treats when they check in. So we do definitely go beyond not just a transaction. They truly are guests who I know that they will come back to Sunland RV Resorts because of the experience that they have received that just elevates it a little bit different and separates us from other resorts and parks in the area.
So I think I heard somebody talk about some of that data gathering at a recent conference. And I guess my question for you, Olivia, is how do you gather that without being creepy?
Well, that's great. So basically, it's through conversation. It is people will call. We do get a high percentage of call volume.
Yeah,
and it's a conversation. And you will hear people, our agents will congratulate people on their first time. I just bought an RV. It's something that they're very proud of. And they can't wait to get on the road and experience this lifestyle. And they're very open to having conversations. So in our systems, in our RMS platform, our booking engine, we will have data and data fields that literally gathers that information of who that guest and who that traveler is. So we know who they are. So it's creepy in a really friendly way.
Well, and I think that's the way to do it. I think some park owners think, oh boy, I've got to have this huge list of questions. But the way you say it, the way you explain it is it's more conversational, and you're having
Absolutely.
a conversation. It's not you're juling them with like a ton of questions. And they're sitting there.
Yeah, and it's not robotic. It's not okay, next question. Yeah, it truly is getting to know your guests.
Yeah.
So how fast is Sunland going to grow? I know that James mentioned you have a park under development. Is that kind of a one at a time sort of a thing, or would you love to have 4, 5, or 10 going at once?
Yeah, it depends on the opportunities that come across, right? That we come across, and it's really based on that, Mike. I mean, if we can get 5 to 10 properties, next year, we'd love that, right? But it really depends on the opportunity, because what we want to be is a company that's nationally recognized, not only in California and Florida, but in the United States, and we really want to grow the company. I think that's our vision and our mission. Yeah.
How about staffing? Is that a real issue now? I know that a lot of camp owners really struggle to find good qualified managers. Where do you guys find your staff from?
It used to be an issue, but what we've done, Mike, is we've created a very strong recruitment efforts in our company, as well as career development, right? So if you join our company, and I think that this is what attracted a lot of our employees, is that we would help you grow in your career. So if, for example, if somebody says, James, I want to be at the front desk, or I want to learn Excel, and we're willing to pay for the tuition to get your knowledge enhanced in building your career in Sunland. And so to answer your question, we partnered with colleges and universities, particularly hospitality programs in the universities, as well as local companies or organizations that help Ukrainian refugees, for example. We've hired a couple of them. We've sponsored some visas, as needed. But no, it's been better, Mike, than 2 years ago, I would say.
Yeah. Um, are you finding, I know there's, and we're right, we just finished an article on this, we haven't posted it yet, but on the educational front, are you finding more younger kids, younger adults interested in learning more about the outdoor hospitality industry and approaching Sunland about getting that experience and getting jobs in the outdoor industry?
Music to my ears, Ben, because my background, I'm an adjunct professor as well, so in
Oh,
hospitality,
okay.
and I teach in a couple of universities. One of them right now is an online, and one of my tasks was to introduce the outdoor hospitality to the indoor hospitality folks, right? The students, and they're actually starting to realize that this is an industry to join, right? This is a it's not, you're not in a box, right, in a hotel, but you're in a resort, you're in an outdoor. And talking about people industry, where indoor hospitality, we always talk about, oh, I joined this industry because it's a people industry. I mean, talk about people industry. As we all know, you go out of the RV office, RV park office, and you'll meet so many people, right? And they're always hanging out and enjoying themselves. So I see a lot of um, indoor hospitality young students that are now trying to look at recreation and outdoor hospitality industry as a career, and it's great for us, right? And I think we need, as an industry, we need to continue to promote our industry to those students.
Yeah. What are, when you look ahead, what are some of the challenges you feel that Sunland faces, I guess, or maybe the industry in general? Are there any, I mean, everything's been going so good for the last couple of years. I think people were worried about interest rates, but those seem to maybe hopefully they might be coming down a little bit this year. I guess, are there any challenges that you kind of keep your eye on?
Olivia,
The one thing I will say for being in Southern California, this past year was an El Nino year, and
Yeah.
it is forecasted to be another El Nino year, which will impact the outdoor hospitality. So it is something that we are thinking about now, and how we can potentially get ahead of that and curate activities more indoors. Having the outdoor movie theater with the blow up screens are now in an indoor environment, just really trying to pivot and change to address, or again, get ahead of. And we're very, very lucky that we do have, for most of our portfolio, a tremendous amount of banquet or indoor meeting space that we have the ability to adjust and have those activities indoors. I think that truly is one of probably the one I can see that's on our immediate radar to try and overcome. I mean, San Diego, as I mentioned, Southern California, it is still going to be a destination for travel, but people can go to the indoor hospitality and get their their experience in that environment. But it's very different in our RV world, that it truly impacts your entire vacation or your experience when it is Mother Nature has a different story for you.
So is Sunland ready to branch out of California and Florida? Are they looking at other southern tier states or beyond?
Yes, absolutely. We're looking at, as I mentioned, Texas was one of them, and both Olivia and I would love to have a Sunland property in Northern California, but outside of California, absolutely, Arizona. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities,
Yeah.
right? It's just a matter, again, of the timing and opportunity that we see out there.
Yeah. And Olivia, I guess I live in Michigan, so El Nino, I hear it, but that just means. So, are you anticipating more wet weather then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The entire southern part of Southern California will be impacted with, it is the polar of the north and the Pacific jet streams in the south. And it's just going to bring much more rain in the region.
Yeah,
But
I'm not.
for me, it's an opportunity, right? I mean, I love rain. Maybe I'm one of the few people here that love rain. But I was in San Francisco during the holiday season, and it's been raining every day. And I was in downtown, and I loved it. I mean, it's just there's something about the rain that makes it much more romantic and much more, it's just beautiful. It's something about that nature that sometimes we take it for granted, right? But rain is. I mean, I would not, if I were an RVer and I would go to Southern California, that rain would not stop me. That's my own personal opinion.
Oh, rain marketing. You got to write that down, Olivia.
Oh, yes. Trust me. We've had meetings about that, Mike.
Well, I think we got to wrap up here, but it was great talking with you, Olivia and James. And obviously, we didn't cover everything about Sunland, but people can check out more about Sunland at your website, sunlandrvresorts.com. And I know, James, you're on LinkedIn quite a bit, so you can connect with James Lim on
Absolutely.
LinkedIn. I imagine Olivia Devlin's probably on there too. Maybe we're friends.
I sure
If
am.
we are, Olivia, I'm sorry. I try to remember everyone, but it doesn't happen. So, thanks for coming on the show and taking the time. And I've enjoyed speaking with you. So.
Yeah, it's exciting to look at the very, very top end of the market like this, and you guys are doing some fantastic things. I think that will trickle down all the way through the industry.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much to you both. It was great chatting with you, and thank you very much for having us. It was great.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we will be back again next week.
Thank you for listening to WCM's Park Update, a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine. Join us for a new show each Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for daily news and updates, and subscribe to our news feed on our website at woodallscm.com. Show hosts are Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. Executive producers Rick Kessler and Alex Burkett. Copyright 2022, G&G Media Group.